Here we go. Hi and welcome to the Digital Units channel. It's my pleasure to be working with you for this hour of development time. So the idea for this video, this is an application development video. The idea for this kind of a video is for you and I, you the audience, you the developer audience, or those who seek to become the developers, and I to work together. Of course, you're watching this later, but I'll look at your comments and there may be updates to this application after this video. The idea for this sort of a video is for you and I to learn together how to create applications using the Angular 2 framework. So there's a lot of things that were announced at ngConf this week that make Angular a very attractive and a very solid bet and decision, a good decision to make for your application development efforts and for mine. So as we work together, if you have any questions or something doesn't make sense, feel free to post it in the comments. Feel free to open up an issue on the GitHub repo. We'll go over all of that. So the idea for this application is an application registry. It's sort of like a meta application, which means an application of applications, a little bit like Appception, but no, we're not watching a movie here. You're watching a movie, I'm making a movie about applications that are going to be about applications. So a little bit of Inception is involved. What's this idea though? So why would we want a meta application? Why would we want something like an application registry? Well, it helps us keep track of our applications. And we'll get more into the design later, so let's get right into it. So we'll start at the GitHub repository for this application. You'll see it's under the Digital Units namespace. With the app registry repository, there are a few commits. Just remove the default git ignore because the Angular CLI will be generating one for us. As you can see, it's complete. It's completely blank. So we're going to take this and clone it after. Well, actually, we're not going to clone this. We would if we were going to start from scratch, but we're not going to start from scratch. We're going to start from what the templates are that the Angular CLI gives us, which it's designed to create a full application. So let's get right to the Angular CLI. The Angular CLI, I recommend you go to this repository. This is a very exciting project, and the idea behind Angular CLI is to be a tool that you can use to not only start your project, but to generate code for your project even as you're in production and you're moving forward with your application. It's not just supposed to be for toy apps or demo apps. It's something intended to be something that you can use as you move forward and develop your application even on a large scale. And as these sets of videos progress, we'll go deeper and deeper into the different features of the CLI and the different things that are brought through. So for today, we're going to do just a basic setup. This video will not cover some of the setup that you'll need, such as installing Node and making sure NPM is properly working. We're going to use it. So if you need to learn how to install Node.js, which includes the Node package manager on your computer, pause the video now and come back when you're ready with Node installed. And as well, if you're on Windows, then you need to install something like git bash or Cygwin so that you can do some of these commands, because we'll be doing a lot of things from the command line. If you're Linux or Mac, you're already in good shape. So let's start here with npm install g Angular CLI. I've already done this command, and I won't waste your time with it now. What you could do is copy this, go to your terminal, paste it in and run it, which we won't run it today right now because I've already run this command. I've already got the Angular generator, the Angular CLI, as you'll see. And if some of you are wondering, yes, this is similar to Yeoman. I know there is an Angular generator in Yeoman and an Angular full stack generator. This is for Angular 2. It's built by the team at Google, so it's got to be a great tool. Oh, one more thing I should mention. One of the goals is that we want to spend only 1 hour with each other each day. So I've got my timer here. As you can see, I've got the Spider-Man or the Spider-Web theme on my phone. No, it's really just cracked. So we just started the timer. I'll add like 5 or 10 minutes because we've been going for a little while already. And once 60 minutes is up, we'll be done. We want this to just be an hour development effort of you and I together. So once again, where are we? We've installed the Angular command line interface, which of course requires that you have Node installed and the Node package manager. And if you want to determine if things are working, you can do this usage command here, ng-help. And you'll see you can scroll through there, we can see the command is actually working. So we'll go right on to the next step. And just so in case you're wondering, I'm using Spectacle to be able to move the window around. It's a really awesome utility on Mac, and there are Windows equivalents from what I know. So we're going to follow along here. So before we create this new project, let me introduce the project. The idea for the app registry project is that it facilitates this basic user story. In order to, so let's zoom in here. Zoom in, there we go. In order to easily create and share applications, a developer needs to define and publish applications. So the idea is that an application registry takes the mental load off you as a developer. It helps you to collect all of the ideas and even the links to things like a Trello board or a GitHub repository or some sort of build server somewhere or your DigitalOcean account together so that you can manage the ideas of an application together. And also so that you can publish the application definition to a personal registry, which in order to have it at all, you have to have it in your personal registry, or you can publish it to a global registry, or you can just make your registry to be something that can be public and other people can get it. Now, what is a registry? Let's define that. So define registry. A registry, a place where registers or records are kept. What records are we keeping? We're keeping records of applications created by developers. So as you can see here, it's a simple application, enables developers to define and collect architectural, design time, and implementation time details of an application, as well as links to project resources. And here's the basic domain model. And we'll go right to the Trello board because this has been copied and pasted into the Trello board. So in that Trello board, we see one user story, and this is the agile format. We've got an open, in progress, and done. It's either done or not done. It's nice to see if it's open or in progress though. So we go and we see our user story there in order to easily create and share. And we can see I've posted some comments here on each of the domain objects. So what is an application? An application, of course, has attributes like a title, maybe a primary language, things like that. And it's uploaded to one or more registries. It has a screenshot. It's created by one and only one developer. It's a very simple domain model. It can be shared. Has a set of links to external resources. So we'll model all of these associations and relationships as we get further in. And a developer creates an application, creates a registry. They're the users in our story here, and they can download an application from a public registry to a personal registry. And a registry contains a set of apps and can be public or private. It's just as simple as that. So we're going to model these three concepts as well as the relationships and the constraints on those relationships one with another. So what design process do I use internally? I do attempts to use domain-driven design by Eric Evans. You can read his famous Blue Book from 2003. It's an excellent source of design inspiration. So what we'll do is we'll move this over here to in progress. And let's go create our application. So we're going to, to go back to our reference here, we're going to follow this set of three steps. So we say ng new app registry. And why did I pick that name? Because that's the name of the Git repository. So it's going to create the repository and download everything. And I forgot I wanted to do this before we described the whole application because installing packages here takes about a minute. And that's a minute now that we could have spent some other way. What I'll do, this will be edited out. So go ahead, we'll go on to the next thing. And we're back. As you can see, the packages were installed for tooling. That's what actually takes the longest. It's the shim, the protractor, Jasmine, and the WebDriver. That's for testing. If you haven't done testing before, it's extremely helpful. So you can see when it creates all these files for us, looks for something called Watchman. We'll figure out what that is in a later video and see if we ever want to worry about that or even think about that. So it generates all these files, this configuration files, environment files, end-to-end testing files, some high-level configuration files, and installs all of your dependencies to the local node modules folder. So now let's go into this repository so you can see now we have a app registry, a directory. So let's go into there. And so the next step here, we could serve it. Let's do that before we connect this to the GitHub repository. So ng serve. You can see it's now it says starting up the server. It's a live reload server, which is very handy during development, because when you're developing, you can change a file, and as soon as you save it, or if your IDE saves it for you, the web page will automatically refresh with your new change, which is very handy, saves you time. So let's go there now. I've got an incognito browser. Let's do localhost :4200, and we can see the app registry works. Great. So now that we know we've got code that runs, let's connect this to GitLab. So we'll Control-C to stop that server, and we will paste. So we're going to go into the git config, which is in the .git folder. Go to the config. Actually, no, we won't do it manually. We'll just do it automatically. So we're going to say git remote add origin, and origin is just a title, a standard title. And let's copy this text right here and paste it in. So now what we can do is we can do git pull. Well, first of all, we don't have a README or a license, so there shouldn't be any merge conflicts. We'll do git pull. Okay, git pull origin master. And there is a merge commit here. Okay. Yes, we'll do a simple merge commit. And it didn't work for me. Things haven't been working for me with my merge commits in Vim ever since I installed all these extra add-ons. So we'll just do it manually here. So let's do a git status sv, and let's add all this into the repository. So git add dot git commit -m for message added all Angular CLI files. Git push -u origin master. Okay, is this going to work for us? Great. So now let's look at our master branch, see what we've got. We've got everything on GitLab. Excellent. We can go to the commits. That was oh, this is kind of cool. I think we can see that. Yes, they're ASCII. All right, see that? That's really, really beautiful, really wonderful. That was kind of fun. They showed that at the conference. So we've got that commit, and we're ready. So we've got a fully functional application at this point as far as just basics. So now let's get into designing the application model. So we're going to move on down here. As we can see, we're going to generate some components, and then we're going to add them to the page. So remember, part of the things that we want to learn here, some of the things that we want to learn include TypeScript, Angular 2, and TypeScript because Angular 2 works very best with TypeScript. We're also going to learn about typings, files for TypeScript as necessary, and we'll learn the Angular CLI and other tools and libraries that will be helpful to us, such as Firebase or other things like that, as we want to save and persist data and use different things. So what we'll be doing today is we're going to be creating components and having those components be laid out on the page. We'll probably use something like Bootstrap to lay things out and give us a nice look. So let's go. Now that we've got this set up, let's open it up with WebStorm. WebStorm is my editor of choice. You don't have to pick WebStorm. Go ahead and pick whatever you'd like. Sublime would work just fine too. WebStorm has great IntelliSense, and I'm pretty sure Sublime gives you IntelliSense as well. I just haven't looked into it or installed it. So let's do WebStorm. And this utility that I'm using to open everything is called Alfred. It's like a replacement for Spotlight. I highly recommend it if you use a Mac. So we'll load this in. Okay, let's actually cancel this out. This is the first application from yesterday that we uploaded. Now we're going to go to Git. We're going to go to Digital Units, Application Registry. There we are. So the first step that happens here when WebStorm opens up is this indexing, which is what gives you such amazing IntelliSense. So that could slow things down for us just a little bit. So let's go right into the source, see what we've got. We've got our main TS, that does our bootstrapping. Let's zoom in on this. And these shortcuts that I'm using here, Command 1 that will hide your window over here or show it, which is really great. So we can see this is what does our bootstrapping. This is the entry point into the application. And what we're going to do, go into the app registry so we can see, let's go to the app registry component. This is our application component. We're going to add a component to this for each the developer, the registry, and what was our domain model? It's a good thing that we've got this in Trello. The registry, the developer, and the application. So let's do that. As you can see, WebStorm has a little progress bar here of its indexing. Okay, so let's go back here to Angular CLI and let's generate some components. And what we're going to do ng generate, which the short version is G. We'll do that after this component. We're going to say registry. So actually we're going to do some namespacing, so I'm going to say DGU for digital units. Maybe DGUN. That's sort of a cool acronym. We'll say DGUN. Digital units dash registry. App registry. So there we go. Everything's committed. So before we do, it's not committed, that everything's generated. So before we do anything, let's go in WebStorm and look at these changes. We could do it here with git diff. So I have some aliases built in that make things nice and pretty. So we can see there's some changes here. First of all, though, let's go in WebStorm and see what the changes are. So I hit Command 9 to open up the changes dialog. We can see there's some files that we're not yet tracking. We're going to add these files, add to VCS. Now let's review these in detail, what is generated when we generate a component. So we see the CSS file, and actually let's look at the directory structure. So we can see there's in the new folder that was created for our application registry. And all of these files for that app registry. So the CSS by default is blank. The HTML is just a simple HTML file with a paragraph tag, not much to see there. And we see the component here. So we have our imports for testing, more imports for testing, the component annotation, and this by for browser. Okay, just a second, this is the spec. So then we've got the app registry component, so we can inject that into our application. And there we go. So this is actually the test controller. Let's go to the component. Okay, so we bring in the component and the onInit for the callback method here, ng onInit. And we have this component. We see we've defined the module for module.id. We will learn what this means later. I do not know what it means. That is probably a global that's exported or a constant that's exported somewhere else in the application. And the selector here, we can see this is what we'll put in our application. I don't know if I like that. App dgun app registry. Let's change that after we do this initial commit. In the template URL, we can see the component HTML, the component CSS for the styles. And there we go. It's just a really basic registry component. And we can see in our index.ts, we have a export. So now with our system configuration, we can see that it's actually a separate module. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. System config. Let's go to system config and see what's in there. And remember, all of this is in TypeScript. We're going to say no. We've got a map, packages, barrels. So in our barrels, so everything under this line is managed by the CLI. Include all of the specific things that we use, and from Angular as well as third-party barrels. What's a barrel? I don't know yet, and when I learn, I will tell you in a later video. Looks like we have a separate barrel, which is probably some sort of like a package or a library or a module format. Maybe like kegs in Homebrew. That's a package manager for Mac. So this is we have a barrel here for our component, which that's probably really good because then things become more componentized and modularized, which is almost always a good thing. And then we have some configuration for system.js. There we are. CLI system config packages. We have barrels.for each, so we add each item from the barrel into the client config for the barrel name equals main index. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so we'll get more into the details of this file later as I learn more about it, or as you tell me more about it, and then I add it into a separate video. So let's commit all these changes, package it up, and say, what did I do there? I selected everything, hit Command K for commit. Commit message, we're going to say generated the app registry component. Commit. Oh, I could have done commit and push. So at this point, let's make sure everything still runs fine with the test. Oh, I didn't even show you the testing yet. Let's go to the testing. So one thing you can do is you can do testing. So let's do node npm test. From what I remember, I might be wrong here. So let's look at the CLI for testing. There is a great resource. So let's do Angular CLI. I recommend you go to CLI-angular.io. Let's try this. ng-serve test and format. This getting started guide is very good. There is so running tests. Okay, so we'll do ng test. There we go. So we'll do ng test using the CLI. This will run all of our tests, and ideally, so we have it by default. A project has 2. This one has 4 because we added that component. And if we go into our code, we'll see in our component specification, things are going just a little bit slow here. We can see 2 tests here. It should create the app and should have a title app registry works, which that is going to fail as soon as we change this component. You may be able to hear my computer in the background going crazy with its fan. Maybe that'll change as I get a upgrade. You can see it's re-indexing, so maybe that's what's causing the computer to take off like a rocket. So let's Control-C this. If we can do ng end-to-end tests to do end-to-end tests. Oh, this is actually going to fail because you actually have to have a browser up and running. Oh, maybe it won't fail. Oh, yes, it should fail because we haven't started a browser on that port. We actually have to have a browser already running for the end-to-end tests to run. So it's trying to do something here, and as far as I know, this will fail. Yes. So let's go ahead and let's see. There we go. It failed. Let's open up another window. CD to get digital units app registry, and we'll do ng-serve. So with that ng-serve, we're now listening on that port. Let's refresh. App registry, there's my favicon. There we go. And now let's go back to the other window. We can plus that up. Back to the other window and try this again, end to end. And we'll see that everything runs. We want to make sure that when we write new code, we don't break existing tests as much as possible. Okay, so it says it's done. Let's see. All tests passed. Wonderful. Okay. And let's stop that running in the background. And what am I doing to navigate back and forth? It's Command-Shift, right bracket or left bracket. So we've got all of our tests passing. Let's do a get status, which I have abbreviated to GS. So let's, okay, we've committed everything. Let's git push. And go to our repository, verify everything's up, and it is 5 commits. We just barely generated our app registry component. Let's generate the next component that we need. So ng-g, so let's review the CLI. ng-g, well, actually before we generate our next component, let's go to our application and add this new component. Make sure it actually shows into place, displays on the screen. So one thing I want to show you is how the live reload server works. So let's go here and do ngserve. ngserve. Now things are running in the background. We're going to, oh wow, okay, there was a little bit of a lag there. So let's take the application here, refresh, it's going. We're going to make some changes, and then you'll see that this will automatically refresh down here as we hit save up here. So let's go to the index.html. We can see there's the app registry app. So let's go to the app registry component HTML, and let's add in a directive for the app registry. First though, let's go in there and change this. Remember, I didn't like the name app dgun app registry. Let's just change it to app registry. So we could do a refactoring on this. We probably should. So let's Control C, Command Shift F, paste it in there, and let's see if it's only in one file, which hopefully it is. Okay, we've got a few here. Let's take a look at this. Alrighty, here we're going to have to change this template. Let's go ahead and change. So refactor. Okay, F1, F6. It doesn't want to let me do that. I'm going to change my keyboard settings for just a second and get my function keys back on. Okay, let's do F6 on this. No, Shift F6 for refactor. Okay, it doesn't want to refactor for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a search and replace. Actually, Command Shift R, and we're going to do app dgun. So let's do that name change. Oh man, that's a lot of changes. I'm really worried about this. Let's take a quick look here. That is not good to see so many files. That's a lot. That's not good. Okay, well, let's not change it for now, and we'll come back and we'll change it later. Let's just verify that things work before we change things. So let's go to the app registry component, and we're going to say app-dgun app registry. Here we are. Now if we hit Command S, okay, we are not getting our directive. Let's go on our directive. Yeah, things are not working as expected, so let's see what's going on. See if we have any errors in the console. No, we don't. Let's go to our app registry component. Let's just add some text in here, test. And we can see that our registry is not working. So there's something about the CLI that I do not know. I was under the impression that when we added it, it would actually work the first time. So dgun app registry, yes, that is the selector I'm using. Unknown tag. Yeah, that's okay. So let's pull in this component. So what we need to do is we need, well, we'll probably, that's right. We've got to import it if it's not already imported. So let's go to the TS. We're going to import, and we're going to leave that blank for now, from /dgun app registry /dgun app registry component. What we're going to do is import the command. Let's do Control Space here. Okay, let's look at the component name here. Dgun app registry component. That's what we want. Let's go to the providers, or not providers, but directives. Directives, and we're going to say dgun app. Let's see if we can get some IntelliSense there. There we go. Alright, that should do it. So let's save that there. And there we go. Dgun app registry works. So before we get into changing the name of that HTML, let's go and commit this change. So make this nice and full screen again, Command 9. Let's look at what we had to change. So first of all, we added it there and we imported it into our application, which the new dependency injection system is quite interesting. It's definitely more versatile. It's something you have to wrap your head around. It's tree-based, so we'll get into that more later. So let's commit this. Generated app. So added app registry component to index to not index to main page. So let's commit this. Commit and push. Commit. Push. Wonderful. Hide that window. Now let's pull the generate. Well, actually, before we generate the next components, let's see if we can successfully rename this. So we're going to. So the spec. Let's just change the worry about the files that are here. So if we go to the registry component, let's change this to dgun app registry. Let's change it in here to dgun app registry in the spec file for our test. Let's go to the app registry component. Okay, everything looks to be working. So save. Okay, we are getting a problem. Let's see why. Oh, that's right. We need to change it here. It is dgun app registry. Save that. There we are. So now let's do a commit again and say this is what I had to change. Now let's see what we have to. Let's do a commit and see what we had to change. Well, before we do that, let's go to the changes view. So in order to rename our component, we have to, of course, change where it's used. Go to the component itself, change the selector, and go to the component spec so that we don't break the tests. Let's actually check to make sure we haven't broken any tests. Let's go back to, let's Control C out of here. Let's do ng test. How are we doing on time here? We are about 30 minutes in. So there we go. 4 tests all still successful. Let's start the server, ng serve, and then we'll do the end-to-end tests. And this should be automated by a build server, which hopefully we'll thread that in a later video. So ng serve, ng e2e for the end-to-end tests. There we go. We're running. Command K to clear the screen. What have we got here? Are we going to be successful? Yes, we. Oh, one failed. Okay. Oh, is that right? Expected app registry works to equal. So let's go to that spec and see why it's broken. Okay. WebStorm every now and then goes a little bit slow for me. Let's take this. Okay. Let's diagnose and see why this is broken. Template. So dgun app registry component spec. First of all, let's verify that we got the right test. App registry should display message saying app works. It's probably because we added something and it's too broad of a selection criteria. Okay, so should create the app, inject app.title to equal app registry works. That's still the case as far as I knew. Yeah, we've got the app registry works as that title. Is that really what's failing? Failures. Should display message saying app works. Expected app registry works. Dgun app registry works to equal app registry works. Let's see if we can figure this out. It must be selecting by some inappropriate criteria. Let's look at the spec here. It's created. That one's not failing. It is, so let's make sure we verify which file it's failing in. Let's zoom out just a little bit, get a better view. Begin app registry, config. So which file is this? App registry, app should display. So it looks like it's the app registry spec here. Should create the app, should have a title app registry works, inject app registry component, which we're getting from this import here. We're expecting app.title to equal app registry works. Why in the world this doesn't make any sense, because the title comes from the controller and the controller says app registry works. That's correct. That's exactly what it's supposed to say. If we go to here, yeah, this isn't making any sense at the moment. Some of you are probably screaming at me saying, oh, it's this, it's this. If you could only, if I could only hear you now. So we have a spec here, we've got HTML. App.title, begun app registry. It shouldn't be that HTML there. It should have a title app registry works. App.title to equal, that's quite odd. Well, I don't want to stop this test. We'll go ahead and cancel this test for now. That's not how we should do it. I don't know why this is broken. When I figure it out and what it should be, then that'll be as a comment to the video or some sort of an update that I'll add on later. So it should have as a title. Well, let's go ahead and take this component out of here and see if we're getting any trouble that way. Okay, let's do, oh wait, I think I might know why. Let's do a ng build. Could be stale assets in the distribution folder. Actually, let's take this and put it back in. So we're going to say ng build. Let's do ng serve, and we'll run the end-to-end tests again. Okay, we're up. Let's run the end-to-end tests. And we're starting here, starting. What have we got? We still have, so there's an, oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong test. That's right. Oh my gosh. This is good. So we'll learn it once and hopefully remember it the next time. Ah, that's the problem right there. Page.getParagraphText. So I will need to learn how to make the app registry page. It's getting only one paragraph. So let's see what methods we have in here. Get. Come on, control space. Okay, indexing is in progress. So that's what's going on down here with this little bar. Yeah, that's the problem. So it's really not the unit tests that are failing, which these are the unit tests. That's why it made sense this all passed, and we can prove that by going in and running ng test. So let's control C here. We'll do ng test, and all of the unit tests will work. My confusion was on which test I was supposed to look at, it looks like. So there we go. Starting browser Chrome. As we can see, all of them pass successfully. So let's see how we can fix this end-to-end test. Are we indexing again? I'm going to have to change my indexing configuration. That is really quite horrid. We might just have to ignore, yeah, I'm going to configure this. I think it's indexing the distribution directory, which is not good at all. So I'm going to change I'm going to learn how to change, and I'll show you how to do it in the future, how to change. Probably trying to index this directory every single time it's changed. So I don't want it to index this directory, and I probably don't want it to index this one, so I'm not extremely experienced there. So for now, let's take this end-to-end test and have it reflect reality, which really, what is reality? Reality is that we have an end-to-end test. So if we refresh, let's start the server so we can see what reality is. Control C, serve. We have a directive in our HTML now which changes the actual paragraph text. So let's go to, and really one way that we could solve this is we could change the end-to-end test, or we go to our app registry component and then just have this be maybe a span. And let's see if that does it for us. We could see, oh, that was really cool. The file was changed, and so now it actually built it and reran the entire thing. So let's do the end-to-end test again. Oh, we have to have a browser up and running. Let's Control C out of this. Okay, it's running. Let's refresh. And as you can see, oh, we're probably going to have to add all of this because the paragraph might include all of this. It shouldn't though, because the P element begins and ends here, including that exclamation point. So let's run this and see if we can get our tests working. Yes, tests are that important. You want to know why they're broken and how you can fix them. So it's definitely worth spending the time. It saves you time to do tests. Here we are. Oh, it failed once again. So there we go, the paragraph. It must be more than just the P element. It's taking all of this, which really, this is what the end-to-end test should have in it because we have updated the functionality of the application now. So let's go and update our end-to-end test. So if we go to the end-to-end test here, we're going to paste this into there. We're going to remove this old text, and we will now, let's see, okay, now we're going to run those end-to-end tests once again. And this time it should succeed. There we are. So that's our end-to-end test, which we can get more into Protractor and WebDriver, Selenium, these other testing tools in later videos. Let's get on to scaffolding the rest of the application. So we're going to generate some more components. Let's go and generate the other two components. What components are they? We'll go to our Trello board. As we can see, we need a developer and we need an application. So let's do that now. An application component. And really, later we'll be creating the interface for those classes of objects using TypeScript classes. So let's generate, we'll stop this server. Let's do ng g for this shorthand syntax. Let's take our component, and we're going to say dgun. And why do I use dgun? It's for namespacing. So component dgun, and then we'll say application. So dgun application. Let's look and see. Oh, we do want to do a route. That's right. We do want to do routing, which we will get into that just a little bit later. I remember routing is really important. So for now, though, let's generate all of our components and then see what changes we need to do for routing. Okay, so we can see here we've changed the app registry component. We're going to commit all these changes to the app registry component before we go in and change or add these other two files. So let's do that. Okay, that change is not relevant to the last change, so let's commit this change and say changed name of app component of registry of app registry component app registry component and updated end to end test. Command push. Okay, wants to do some analysis there. Come on, I'll have to uncheck that for next time. This is not necessarily what you want in a demo, or a video like this. Okay, so now let's add all these changes. So we'll hit What is the shortcut? It is Command Option A. There we are. Command K to add this. So generated application component commit. Oh, wanted to do commit and push. Let's hit cancel there. Uncheck that and push. Push. There we are. Push successful. And let's generate the next component as well. dgun application dgun developer. There we are. Let's go to our change list. Add all of our files. Command Option A to add them all, and Command K to commit them. Generated developer component commit and push. Push. We are now approaching 42 minutes. So now let's look at what we've got in our application. Let's verify that all the components work and are actually shown on the HTML. So we will do this, of course, again, is going to break our end-to-end test. Remember, we have to go to our app component and add it in. So let's do that now. We'll close all these files. App registry component. That's not what we want. We want our, well, yeah, that actually is what we want. So let's import all these components now. So we're going to say import, curly braces with a space in them, please. From, and then we'll do dot dot, we'll do to dgun application slash dgun application. Notice we don't have to put the .ts extension here. It's just the component, so we're going to say dgun application developer component, and let's do dgun application component. Is that correct? Let's do IntelliSense. Yes. Okay, let's do some more IntelliSense here. Gun developer component. Yes, that's what we want. And let's add those here to our directives. dgun application component and dgun application developer component. We're going to get some IntelliSense here. Yes, we are. So now that we have that, let's add them to our template here. So let's see what the selector is for the developer. App dgun developer. I don't like that, so let's change it. I'm going to change this. Let's also change it in the HTML or the spec. So it's going to be dgun developer, and that should be all we have to change it in. Let's also fix it for dgun application, and change it in the spec. And go back to our HTML for the high level. We'll do dgun application. We'll do dgun developer. There we are. It says it's unknown. I'll have to look into the configuration for WebStorm, see if we can fix that. So now let's run our tests to make sure we haven't broken any unit tests. ng test. Built project successfully, great. And test successful, great. So we haven't broken any functionality except for the end-to-end test. Let's Control-C out of there. Let's look at our changes with Command 9. I really need to fix my WebStorm configuration. So let's do, we can see we've changed the names of our components, added them. So let's commit this. I like small commits. So changed names of components, remove app prefix, push, commit. And we will also say added components to app to main component. Commit and push. Commits. Okay, it says it wants to wait for the indexing to happen. So really I need to learn how to stop that indexing so that every time it doesn't try to index the dist folder. It's working so hard, I'm going to give it less work. See that? Okay, so we're going to run the application, ngserve, which really I should probably just leave that ngserve up all the time. Okay, and we'll see all the components are there. So now let's actually start to make this application into something that could potentially be useful. Okay, and yeah, WebStorm is definitely going slower by doing that indexing continually. So I'm going to have an ignore, make sure it ignores those directories. So let's go to our route. Okay, so let's scaffold the routes. We generate a new route. This will create a folder. Lazy. So let's do a route. Let's generate a new route. Go ahead and turn this off during generation. So ng generate route application. Let's do app registry. Let's see what happens. Well, let's not call it that. Let's call it, what should we call this? Let's look at our application. Let's go ahead and say dgun developer, see if that messes anything up. We've committed everything, so if we mess anything up, we can just go back. So let's do get status real quickly. So ngg route dgun application. It looks like it oh, we've got a plus here. That's not good. Okay. Let's see what the difference is and see why it's different. Okay. Let's see what happened in our app registry components. So we have a path, dgun application component. That's quite interesting. So it looks like we probably should have started by generating a route instead of an application. Let's go back. Let's take these changes as learning point and go back and add these. Add this route configuration for all of our components. So let's have a path, and we'll just delete that directory for the plus dgun application and just add all these things for the other folders that we had initially. So let's look at these files and compare them. So index.ts, okay, it's pretty much the same. This is the same. Not really different. We'll just verify. Okay, this is the same. It's just the same as. Okay, we've got still 2 tests. Yes. Application component. However, we may need to remove that there. Yes. Okay, so let's verify that if we take this out that it won't run those tests, so we won't break anything. So let's do ng test. Clear that up. Alrighty, what have we got? Oh my word. Duplicate identifier, yes. So we're just going to do a get reset hard head, which is very dangerous to do. Only do it if you know that that's really what you want to do. So what we'll do is we're going to generate a new route so that we can add the information for that new route as necessary. We're getting pretty low on time here, so really we're going to have to do routing tomorrow. So let's wrap this up. We're going to revert the repository. So get status. Okay, so let's revert. So get reset dash dash hard. And this is okay because we have everything backed up and all the changes are generatable. We didn't write anything, so we shouldn't be having to worry about losing any work. And actually tomorrow we'll switch to a dev branch instead of the master branch, which will be better overall. So get reset. Great. And there we go. Yes. Dgun application component. Really? That shouldn't be showing me is not. Okay. So it looks like WebStorm is just giving me a little bit of time there. Let's refresh, synchronize. That shouldn't be there after the reset, so let's see why. Let's do get status, rm-rfv source app plus dgun application. There we go. So now let's do a ng test, make sure we haven't broken anything, and this will be the end of today. It's building. Great, we're all good to go. So let's make sure that we have get status, everything push, and we do. So what did we accomplish today? Today we accomplished the creation of the project. I introduced you, of course, to what the idea is for these application creation videos. And we started with the basic idea of an application registry project. The application registry is a application that enables a developer to register an application and put all the important or a lot of the important details for the application in the registry definition file or location or data set, such as important links for the application, conceptual definition, mission, vision, things like that. So we didn't get a lot into the domain model. We really just generated components that are going to be used in our application. We've got services and back-end services and other things to add, as well as a user experience that we don't have yet. So this is all that we have for today. And if you have any suggestions or you think that I should do something different or better, feel free to post it in the comments. If you like this video, like it. I know it's sort of long in the tooth. I'll see if I can make these shorter as time goes on and more to the point. For now, at least for this next set of days, they'll be about an hour long unless I get some sort of inspiration that they should be shorter at some point in the future. Probably won't get longer. So thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you like it and if you want more, and I'll see you next time.